All right, thank you, Millicent. Now, Senior Counsel Fred Ngatia now claims the petition before the Supreme Court challenging the election of President-elect Dr. William Ruto is a prank. Ngatia, while making his submissions before the judges, said the case is based on pranks such as claims by Senior Counsel Philip Murgor that Form 34As were hijacked in mid-air, altered, votes deducted from petitioner and added to the first respondent, Dr. Ruto. Ngatia maintains that the petitioners have not submitted tangible evidence to support their case, urging the court to dismiss their affidavits, saying one can manufacture fiction and peddle it as evidence. He has urged the court to look for the substantive truth and give reliefs that would ensure stability of the country.
Why is there need for finality and stability? The whole purpose of these elections is actually to underscore our democracy, to have a government in place for the next 5 years, and then we'll have yet another round of seeking the voters' validation of who will form government. I emphasize the finality and stability because at the end of this contest, what will be bothering this honorable court, if I dare say so, it is what are the reliefs to be given. Elections are carried out by our good Kenyans. I said in 2013, I repeat it again, we are unable to inculcate amongst ourselves the culture of accepting the electoral result. We are just unable to do that. Maybe it is in our psyche, maybe it's in our makeup, but we are unable to do that. Because we are unable to do that, we must then come to this honorable court to try and resolve that dispute in a very unfair way because the dispute ought to have been resolved by the electorate. In my submission, when you look at this case, devoid of lawyers' arguments, you find it is based on certain planks. Plank number 1, Form 34A was hijacked mid-air, altered, votes from one candidate, losing candidate petitioner, removed, added to the votes of respondent number 1. That is a major plank of it. The easiest way to look at it, because I do not have the ability of Mr. Mahat, who dealt with technology, is to look at it from a point of logic or the antithesis. The antithesis being this: if that is true, from a point of logic, show us one Form 34A in the public portal, because that is where ultimately it landed, which differs with the hard copy at the polling station. Show us only one. Or show us a ballot box that people from outer space came and voted into, stuffed into it, and then all this hijacking in midair took place. There's no such evidence. And why there's no such evidence is because that is the work of fiction. Work of fiction, not just conspiracy, but work of fiction. In my submission, therefore, amongst the many things this court is now being called upon to do, is to find a way of moderating, I use the word moderating now in the correct sense, the excesses in the political contestants. Excesses such as imagining that this Supreme Court can now take over the role of voters and do a court coronation of any candidate. That would be a heresy. I will be dealing with the reliefs much later. I'm just doing a broad outline. And the next broad outline I would wish to do is to indicate to this honorable court that the orders sought in the primary petition, apart from being contradictory, would take this country to a constitutional crisis. We now have the incumbent in office with the limitations in Article 134. Limitations which are set or cast in stone by the Constitution. The incumbent in office cannot even appoint anybody to take over from any of the public officers being vilified before you. If, for example, and I say for example guardedly, this honorable court were to even countenance anything other than stability and finality, then a constitutional crisis would be triggered because the petitioner has repeatedly said he will not participate in an election held by IEBC under the chairmanship of Chebukati. We have adduced that evidence in the replying affidavit sworn by the first respondent. That replying affidavit is before you. It was filed on 26th August. We have attached a clip of that discussion. It's in an affidavit by Samuel Gedae of the same date, 26th August, and all those are matters that are before you. Since the petitioner will not participate in a fresh election, does not want to accept defeat, then what does he offer? What is the solution he offers? The solution he offers is that there be an election presided over by the vice chair lady of IEBC.